All right, hello everyone. You're watching You Got It with Warrior Woman 91. All right, as you can see, we're still on video. I'm really excited to continue to be able to put out these video episodes for you guys. I know I said I kind of had a caveat in the beginning that we might not be able to do these regularly. So far, I've been able to do them, and so for as long as I am able to do them, I will continue to do them. With that said, let's get started. I just wanted to start off by shouting out Live Action. So I'm going to stand up. This is their t-shirt, Women's Rights Begin in the Womb. You can pick it up over at their website, liveaction.org, and you can enjoy wearing it. They've got a bunch of different t-shirts. I'm actually not they're not sponsoring me or anything. I just wanted to shout them out. They did send me this shirt for free to kind of promote them. So head on over to liveaction.org and you can check out their selection of merch, which is actually really decent merch. So check them out and support a really good cause. So what I wanted to talk about today was a little bit different. I had a fitness trainer on my show back in the beginning. I think it was episode 5. She's a friend of mine. She's a pretty well-accomplished fitness trainer, very young, athletic. I do want to have her on again, but I wanted to talk about this issue separately before I have her on again, which is, why should I bother working out? This is a question that I have wrestled with for the last 10 years because when you become an adult, your ability to process food and digest as easily as you were able to when you're a kid pretty much goes away. And you start having, adult stresses and adult issues and, you experience stress eating and all of that. And so you start to put on weight and you start to have more trouble keeping that weight off than you did when you were younger. And so this is something that I really wanted to touch on because I think that there's a lot of misconceptions about working out and losing weight. And I just kind of wanted to debunk some of the ones that I've struggled with for a long time. One of the things that that friends of mine actually have this problem, and I started to fall into this trap when I was younger, when I was first starting out with this, was, if I start working out, that means I'm admitting that I'm fat. And my response to that is, duh. Yes, you are admitting that you have a weight problem if you are working out. And that's not necessarily true. You might be, the right body weight, the right BMI or whatever, and still need to work out. Everybody needs to work out. Everybody needs to do some form of exercise. This is not just something that they told you when you were a kid, when you were at school, and it was just helpful advice. It's actually not just helpful advice. You actually do need to work out. You have to take care of yourself. So that's kind of like, I have a specific friend in mind who actually implied this to me when I started working out, and I was like posting which workouts I was doing, and they were kind of like, Kelly, why are you posting that like publicly? You don't want to admit that you're having to work out. It's like you're admitting that you're overweight. And I'm like, yeah, I am overweight. Like I needed to work out. So it's just something you need to just admit. You need to embrace the fact that whether you're overweight, whether you're the right weight, doesn't matter. You need to be exercising. You need to be taking care of yourself. Otherwise, you're going to get to a point where you're just unhappy, or you're depressed all the time, or you're tired all the time. There's all these factors that go into that, but one of them is actually exercising, because this is, I will admit to you guys, this is one of the reasons why I didn't want to do video podcasts again, because I was having so many issues with my weight. I didn't feel comfortable on camera anymore. And that's a really sad thing, because I love being on camera in front of people, and I love talking to you guys over the video, and I love being able to interact with people in a larger scale than just in person, even though I love in-person interaction as well. But it took something away from me. It took away my ability to do this, because I was just like, I don't want to see myself on camera anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. So even I've had to deal with this stuff myself. So don't feel bad. Other people, feel bad. There's a certain amount of fat shaming that is healthy. There's a certain amount of fat shaming that is helpful to people to say, you know what, this is unhealthy. This is bad. Like, when you have somebody who is 350 pounds or whatever that, some unearthly weight that no human being should weigh, there is a certain level of fat shaming that is appropriate in that situation. Now, that's not to say you're going to go up to this person and you're going to make fun of them or you're going to point fingers, but you might, if they're a friend of yours, you might say, hey, you know what? I think I have some ideas for you that might help you out. Maybe that's not necessarily the best way to approach somebody about this, but there are better ways to approach somebody than to just make fun of them. But there is a certain level of fat shaming that is healthy. And I needed that. I needed a little bit of, hey, I don't fit in my clothes anymore. Or, oh, I'm having to go and buy bigger clothes now. That is a sign of you need to start cutting back. You need to work out and also eat right. Like, those are the two things that nobody wants to do, and especially the eating right one. Nobody wants to do that. Well, it makes me feel better, and it makes me, I'm just having a hard time right now. And I've been there. And this is what I'm telling you, all of the things that I've said in my own head about why I don't need to work out, why I don't need to eat right, why I deserve to eat that extra thing right now. And in the long run, like, that's fine for the short term, but in the long run, that's not going to make you feel better and it's not going to make you very happy. You know what makes me happy? Having lost enough weight that I can buy clothes that I like and fit in them and feel good about it. And I'm not a stick figure. I'm not a model of any kind, but I like to be able to buy clothes and fit in them. And I like to be able to feel like I look halfway decent in them. So those are some pretty big reasons why you ought to work out. And I think that it's something, there's just so many excuses that go into this. Like, one of the other excuses that I used to make for myself was, I don't have the right body type to be working out. I was not built to lift weights. I wasn't built to run. I wasn't built to be active. I was built to sit on a couch. Folks, that is another one of those things that is just not true. You were built to use your muscles in all of these ways. As women, you should be lifting weights. It's actually a really helpful thing. And I talked about it on my last episode with Classically Abby about how both of us are not very good at running and we have struggles in other areas, but lifting weights has been a huge way for us to exercise, do it well, learn how to do something, and also to progress. Because when you're lifting weights, I started 2 pounds. I'm lifting 2-pound weights so that I can at least learn how to do the movements correctly and I'm not injuring myself. And then when I got the movements down correctly, I moved up to 3 pounds and I did all of the exercises that I had on my list and I used the 3-pounders and I kept moving my way up. And then I was at that 5 pounds. And right now I'm working on 8 pounds. And by the end of the year, I'll be at 10 pounds. And I'm really looking forward to that because it gives you a goal that you're working toward other than just looking good in your clothes. Because although that is like a long-term goal, it's not a very good short-term goal. You really need a long-term and a short-term. So for me, long-term was to lose weight, but you're not going to lose weight in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You're not going to lose that much weight in that amount of time, despite what all of the fads and the dietitians and whatever else, everybody who's telling you, if you do X, Y, and Z, you'll lose this many pounds in 30 days. That's not really the goal at the end of the day. The goal is to make yourself healthy and do those things really for the sake of doing them, not necessarily for the weight loss, even though that might be the long-term goal and it is hopefully a side effect of your exercise and diet. It can't be the be-all to end-all because it's just not going to happen in the timeline that everybody and their mom thinks that it's going to happen in. So that's basically what I have to say on that topic for today. It's just really something that I have struggled with and I see other people struggling with. And I just think, sometimes I look at other, especially young girls, and I think, you're struggling here with this and I was too. And here's how you can fix it, but you have to want to fix it. You just really, at the end of the day, it has to be your decision to fix it. It can't be somebody else forcing you to fix it. It can't be somebody else setting up the workout necessarily for you to fix it, because you yourself have to be invested in it or you're not going to do it. And that's one of the reasons why I've struggled for so long to find something that works for me, because, my lifestyle changes, my job changes, my hours change, things change. You need to set aside time for these things, because that's another excuse that everybody likes to come up with. Well, I just don't have time to do it. Well, you have to make time. That's the bottom line. If you want to be healthy, and if you want to be able to fit in your clothes at the end of the day, and if you want to be able to eat an ice cream cone without feeling guilty every time you do it, then you have to invest the time in it. It goes right back to, you have to want to lose the weight, and you have to want to exercise and make those results happen. You have to want that to happen. Nobody is going to force you to do it. Like when you were a kid, like when you were in high school and you're doing, your PE class or whatever you were doing. That's when, at that time somebody was forcing you to do something. When you're an adult, nobody's forcing you to do anything. No, I'm not forcing you to do anything. Nobody is forcing you to do anything. And that is why you're in the state that you might be in if you're struggling with this issue, because you have to force yourself. It is about you having the self-control not to eat those things, or to control how often you eat those things. Because again, it's not about cutting all the food that you like out of your life. You actually have to invest in and research which things are good for me, how much of these things are good for me, how many of these things can I eat in a day. It's all about it really is about the calorie counting. It's about the exercising. It's about disciplining yourself to make it fun, make it easy enough for yourself to do, but make it challenging enough so that it's actually doing something for you. And it sounds like work. It sounds like a lot of work. And it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work to take the time to come up with a workout schedule for yourself. But it's so much easier nowadays when you have a YouTube library of all of these fitness channels that you can choose from. You can find one that's up to the speed that you're capable of, that you find interesting enough. Even if you don't want to lift weights, if you would rather run, if you would rather do non-weighted exercises, that's fine. I found that lifting weights has been the most fruitful of any of the exercises that I've done, because one of the exercises that I really hate doing is ab workouts. I don't like doing them. Will never enjoy doing ab workouts. I hate doing them. However, you can get better results by lifting weights, because if you're lifting weights correctly, then you're engaging your core and you're actually working your lower ab as well as your upper ab, as well as your arms when you're lifting weights. And usually when you're doing ab workouts, you're only really working your upper ab, and maybe if you do lower ab specific workouts, but you're still never going to get real results with that. It really comes down to the working of the core and the diet. At the end of the day, it's 80% is the diet. So that's my little talk for today about lifting weights and diet and exercise. I'm not a physical fitness expert. I'm still, working on myself and trying to lose weight and stay fit and stay active and all of that. But it's made a huge difference for me to be able to carve out time in my day to be able to do this, to be able to make it so that I actually do, to a certain extent, look forward to doing it because I feel good after having done it. Or, sometimes I feel like crap after I do it because, sometimes you have to work yourself harder. You're not always going to feel good after you work out. Sometimes you're going to feel sweaty and sore and gross, and that's okay because that means you did something. At least you did something. You can feel good about the fact that you actually got something done and you worked hard at it. And if you continue to make lifestyle changes and look at this in a long-term, as a long-term solution instead of a short-term, well, I just need to lose weight by the time so-and-so gets married, you shouldn't have to rush to do something like that. You should be doing this on a regular basis to take care of yourself so that when so-and-so gets married, you don't have to feel embarrassed when you put that dress on. So that's my little discussion for today on this subject. So the second thing I wanted to talk about on my show was that this weekend is the 1-year anniversary of when I adopted my 2 cats. And I just have to tell the story of how this all went down. So for those of you who don't know, I have 2 cats named Ace and Poppy. Ace is my little white Siamese gray-tailed, fluffy bunny-looking cat. And Poppy is my fiery orange cat with a bad attitude. So those two cats are literally everything. And the reason I have Poppy, who is an orange female, is because my cat of almost 20 years passed away a few years ago. And she was an orange female, and that was just utterly devastating. So I said, I'm never getting an orange cat again after this, because that was, it's just, I could not have a cat replace that one. And so then I'd been trying to find a cat initially I didn't even want another cat. And my parents ended up getting 2 new cats, because my orange cat was the family cat. And then when she was gone, my parents got 2 more cats, and they were they're long-haired tuxedo kittens, and they grew up and they're really fat and fluffy, but they weren't my cats. Like they weren't my cats. So I ended up it took me 2 years, and this is 2 years of not wanting a cat, then wanting a cat, then starting to look for cats, and then finding all these cats, and people trying to, convince me to get these cats, and, why does it matter what color they are, as long as you like them or whatever. And I just could not find cats. Like, even though I had been looking, I'd been going to pet stores, I've been going to like the homeless shelters for cat, or the pet shelters or whatever, for cats. And I just could never find any animals that I was satisfied with. And I realize now that the reason is because I was looking for my old cat. I was looking for the old orange cat that I had, the orange female with the bad attitude, the first one. And I could never find them. So finally, it was a little over a year ago, a year and 2 weeks ago. It was one weekend. I just decided, you know what? I can't find any cats. I'm just going to start looking online, and I'm going to start mass applying for cats that look a certain way, that look like my old orange cat. Or prior to my orange cat, I had a kind of a Siamese gray and white one when I was probably 6 years old or so. So I started filling out applications for those 2 kinds of colored cats, and female cats, because I wanted that same personality. Cats who are females are much more territorial and much less friendly generally. And so those were the kinds of cats I was looking for, because that was the kind of cat that I was used to and I wanted. And so I started mass filling out applications, and I found I found 2 sets of kittens. I found one who was a little white Siamese looking cat with a gray striped tail. And then I found 2 long-haired kittens, white and gray, and an orange. They were longer-haired cats, or kittens. They were much younger. So I filled out the application, and then I found a pure white one. So I found those 3 sets of cats. I filled out applications for all of them. The only one that got back to me was the first one, which was, or I should say, it was actually the second one, the little white one with a striped tail. And what I discovered was she had a sister who was an orange female and a brother who was an orange and white male. And I was like, okay, I will take them all. Unfortunately, my apartment would only allow me 2 cats. So I was like, well, I have to have the orange female, and I have to get the little white one with the striped tail. So the little white one with the striped tail is my ace, and the orange one with the bad attitude is my Poppy. And I filled out the application online, and I had to go and meet the foster family who was taking care of them. This website, I have to tell you, don't go to it. I'm not going to shout it out because I don't want to be that person, but I will say it's what they say about buying animals online and how sketchy it can be. It is. The people at this place were not professional at all, and they didn't do the majority of what they promised me that they would do, including getting them fixed, getting their shots, all of that. I had to pay for all of that, even though it was said on the website that they would cover all of that. They did not. So I would not recommend getting cats online. However, I did find the 2 cats that I wanted through a website. I went and met the foster family who was taking care of them, and I walked into the room, and it was like Christmas Day. This weird looking calico white and gray striped or spotted mother cat with an orange female, a white with a gray striped tail, and a orange and white male. And it was like Christmas Day. They say, and I've talked about this with other people who have looked for pets for a long time. They say that when you find the right ones, it's just like that, and you know that those are the right ones. And that's exactly how I felt when I walked in that room. I was like, yep, those are mine. It was a 15-minute visit. I was in and out of there quick. I drove home, and I was like, yep, I'm getting those. And so then, again, this outlet that I used online to get them, not the best experience. Finally paid for them. I was able to pay for them on Thursday of that week. I had gone to see them on Sunday, and then I didn't hear back from them until I finally contacted them again on the following Sunday, and I said, hey, I've paid for them. Can I go get them? And they said, well, they haven't had their shots and they haven't been fixed, but, as long as you bring them back and have those done, you can go and get them. And so I went and got them, and it was the most ridiculous drive, and I did not know what I was doing, and I went and got them. I got them in their cage, and I brought them outside. I got them in the car, and they're screaming and crying. They hadn't even been weaned. I found out later they hadn't been weaned, and so that first night with them was a nightmare because they were trying to find some way to nurse anything, and they hadn't been weaned yet, and they refused to eat. So it was a drama fest getting those cats, and they continue to be drama cats. But I would highly recommend getting pets, having pets, because especially if you live alone, they just really bring an element of just they give you something to look forward to when you get off work and you come home. You get to look forward to having something to come home to instead of an empty room. So that's my story of how I got my cats. As I say, it was a roller coaster of they didn't end up having their shots right away because the organization, dragged their feet on that to the point that I ended up just taking them in and getting them their shots and getting them their flea medication, and then I ended up paying for them to be fixed, which was just shy of $1,000 to have 2 cats fixed in Los Angeles. So. It was a whirlwind of an experience, and it's very costly. It's very expensive, but get your animals. If you're not a cat person, get yourself a dog. Get yourself cats, if you are a cat person, because they just really, despite all the, the trauma and the expense and everything, they're well worth it. They're well worth, your time. And, if you've had a pet that has passed away, do give yourself some time to recover from that, because that sucks. That is one of the most unpleasant experiences I've ever had in my life, having to put down that animal. And so sometimes you need a little bit of a break after something like that. But after you've had your break, go to the pet store. Just look around. Just look. And don't be afraid to get something that's similar or familiar to what you had before, because at the end of the day, that's why it took me so long to find cats that I was happy with, because I was trying to avoid the fact that what I was really looking for was a cat that looked like the cats that I'd had when I was a kid. And so I recommend, give yourself a break, but then go online and look. You never know what you'll find in the pet store. You never know what you'll find online. Just don't go through that website. Again, I'm not going to shout it out because I don't want to give them any promotion. But just be careful about what websites you use. Give them some extra vetting before you use them. And that's my story of the 1-year anniversary of when I got my cats. And if you want to see pictures, I might put them in the thumbnail. I might not, so I can't guarantee. But you can always check out my Instagram, Instagram.com/warriorwoman91. Go check it out, and you can see what Ace and Poppy look like now. And they've gotten fat, everyone. They've gotten fat. they're going to need to start working out and going on diets and taking care of themselves, just like what I talked about at the beginning of the episode. So like and subscribe to this channel. Like this video and subscribe to this channel. And let me know what you guys would like me to talk about next in the coming weeks. Next week, we will have Aaron Bandler on the show as a guest. We had an excellent conversation about political correctness and the Joker movie and Star Wars. I make an excellent Star Wars analogy that you guys will have to start using on a regular basis. What Star Wars and political correctness have in common. So tune into that episode next week, and I will talk to you guys on the next episode.